These are the 21 ways that rich people think differently than most people, according to the book. Are you ready to make the change? What I've done is I've changed some words here that are used in the book, because a lot of the time average people is used, and while I understand what is meant by average people in the book, I don't really believe anybody is average, so I've just left it as people, or sometimes I've left it where he's used middle class, but these are people that are not average. Nobody's average. We're all different, we're all unique, and we all have great potential. But these are the people that are not using their potential for some reason. So that's one of the changes I've made. So what is it? People think money is the root of all evil. The average person's been brainwashed to believe that rich people are lucky or dishonest. And that's why there's a certain shame that comes along with getting rich in lower income communities. The world class, now this is another phrase that is used in the book, and the world class means people that understand and have broadened their knowledge to understand what it means and how they can achieve greatness and wealth. The world class knows that while having money doesn't guarantee happiness, it does make your life easier and more enjoyable. People also think that selfishness is a vice. The rich go out there and try to make themselves happy. They don't try to pretend to save the world. The problem is that middle class people see that as a negative, and it's keeping them poor. If you're not taking care of you, then you're not in a position to help anybody else. You can't give what you don't have. And people in general have a lottery mentality. While the masses are waiting to pick up the right numbers or praying for prosperity, the great ones are solving problems. Most people are waiting for maybe God or the government or their boss or their spouse to give them what they want. It's the average person's, I'm sorry I've left average in there, it's the average person's level of thinking that breeds this approach to life and living while the clock keeps ticking away. People also think that the road to riches is paved with formal education. I know lots of people that have 2 and 3 degrees and they're poor, they're struggling to make ends meet. Many world-class performers have little formal education and have amassed their wealth through the acquisition and subsequent sale of specific knowledge. Meanwhile, the masses are convinced that master's degrees and doctorates are the way to wealth, mostly because they're trapped in the linear line of thought that holds them back from higher levels of consciousness. You know, the wealthy aren't interested in the means, only in the end. People also tend to look back a lot. They long for the good old days. Self-made millionaires get rich because they're willing to bet on themselves and project their dreams and goals and ideas into an unknown future and make them real. People who believe their best days are behind them rarely get rich and often struggle with unhappiness and depression. You can't drive your car with your eyes constantly on the rear-view mirror. Sometimes it's good to glance up at it and see where you've come from. Concentrate on the road ahead. People also see money through the eyes of emotion. An ordinary, smart, well-educated and otherwise successful person can be instantly transformed into a fear-based, scarcity-driven thinker whose greatest financial aspiration is to retire comfortably. The world class sees money for what it is and what it's not, through the eyes of logic. The great ones, the successful ones, know money is a critical tool, just a tool, that presents options and opportunities to them. Most people earn money by doing things that they don't love. To the average person, it looks like the rich are working all the time. But one of the smartest strategies of the world class is doing what they love and finding a way to get paid for it. On the other hand, middle class take jobs they don't enjoy because they need the money and because they've been trained in school and conditioned by society to live in this linear thinking world that equates earning money with physical or mental effort. If what you're doing doesn't make you jump out of bed every morning with a great big smile on your face, it's time to change. People are also taught to set low expectations so that they're never disappointed. Psychologists and other mental health experts often advise people to set low expectations for their life to ensure that they're not disappointed. What a tragedy. No one would ever strike it rich and live their dreams without huge expectations. People also believe you have to do something to get rich. You don't. You have to be something to get rich. That's why people like Donald Trump go from millionaire to $9 billion in debt and come back richer than ever. While the masses are fixated on doing and the immediate results of their actions, the great ones are learning and growing from every experience, whether it's a success or a failure, knowing that their true reward is becoming a human success machine that eventually produces outstanding results. You know, you get in life what you are, not what you want. People believe you need money to make money. Linear thought might tell people to make money in order to earn more, but the rich aren't afraid to fund their future from other people's pockets. Rich people know that being solvent enough to personally afford something is not relevant. The real question is this worth buying, investing in, or pursuing? Because if it is, you'll find the money, as they do. People also believe that the markets are driven by logic and strategy. Investing successfully in the stock market isn't just about a fancy math formula. The rich know that the primary emotions that drive financial markets are fear and greed, and they factor this into all trades and trends they observe. This is a basic knowledge of human nature, and its overlapping impact on trading give them strategic advantage in building greater wealth through leverage, and we'll talk a bit more about leverage later. People also tend to live beyond their means. They've got credit cards that are maxed out. But here's how to live below your means and tap into the secrets that wealthy people have used for centuries. You get rich so you can afford to do as you please. You don't try and do as you please with limited resources. It never works. The rich live below their means, not because they're so savvy or because they have small wants, but because they make so much money that they can afford to live like royalty while still having a king's ransom stocked away for the future. People also, tragically, teach their children how to survive. Rich parents, on the other hand, teach their kids from an early age about the world of haves and have-nots. Now, Siebold, the author of the book we're talking about, admits that many people have argued that he's supporting the idea of elitism, but he disagrees. People say that wealthy parents are teaching their kids to look down on the masses because they're poor, and this isn't true. What they're really teaching their kids is to see the world through the eyes of objective reality, the way society really is. Because if children understand wealth early on, they'll be more likely and inclined to strive for it later in life. People also let money stress them out. The reason wealthy people earn more wealth is that they're not afraid to admit that money can solve most problems. People see money as a never-ending necessary evil that must be endured as a part of life. But the world class, the wealthy, see money as the great liberator, and with enough of it, they're able to purchase financial peace of mind. And this is a common thing that people would rather be entertained than educated. While the rich don't put much stock in furthering wealth through formal education, they do appreciate the power of learning long after college is over. Just walk into a wealthy person's home and one of the first things you'll see is an extensive library of books they've used to educate themselves on how to become more successful. While the middle class reads novels, tabloids and entertainment magazines and spends most of their life watching garbage on television, rich people are improving their ability to be more successful through watching personal development videos and reading books that help them to educate themselves on becoming more successful. It's also fairly common thought that rich people are snobs. You know, the negative money mentality poisoning the middle class is what keeps the rich hanging out with the rich. Because rich people can't afford the negative messages of doom and gloom. They'll cut them out of their life. Now, this is often misinterpreted by the masses as snobbery. Labelling the world class as snobs is another way the middle class finds to feel better about themselves and their chosen path of mediocrity. If you like, it's an excuse. People also focus on saving. Siebel theorizes that the wealthy focus on what they'll gain by taking risks rather than how to save what they have. The masses are so focused on clipping coupons and living frugally that they miss major opportunities. Even in the midst of cash flow crisis, the rich reject the nickel and dime thinking of the masses. They're the masters of focusing their mental energy where it belongs, on the big money. People in general play it safe with money. Leverage is the watchword of the rich. We mentioned leverage before. Every investor loses money on occasions, but the world class knows no matter what happens, they will always be able to earn more. And leveraging their efforts is the most important factor in them becoming wealthy. And leveraging your efforts will be the most important factor in you becoming wealthy. It's a fact that people love to be comfortable. Rich people find comfort in uncertainty. For the most part, it takes guts to take the risks necessary to make it as a millionaire. It's a challenge that most middle-class thinkers aren't comfortable living with, and so they won't make it. Physical, psychological and emotional comfort is the primary goal of the middle-class mindset. World-class thinkers learn early on that becoming a millionaire isn't easy. If anybody's told you it is, then they're lying. If it was easy, everybody would be a millionaire. So they learn that it isn't easy and that the need for comfort can be devastating. They've got to get out of their comfort zone. They learn to be comfortable while operating in a stage of ongoing uncertainty. And people never make the connection between money and health. Getting stressed out over problems and money actually causes bad health. And while the middle class squabbles over the virtues of national health care programs and their company's health plan, the super wealthy are enrolled in a super elite boutique medical care association. They pay a substantial yearly membership fee that guarantees them 24-hour access to a private physician who only serves a small group of the members. And some wealthy neighbourhoods take this a stage further and have implemented this strategy, even requiring the physician to live in their neighbourhood. You know, if you're not worried about money, your stress levels are lower and your health is higher anyway. And people often believe that they must choose between a great family life or being rich. The idea that wealth must come at the expense of family time is nothing but a cop-out. The masses have been brainwashed to believe it's an either-or equation. But the rich know that you can have anything you want in life if you approach the challenge with a mindset rooted in love and abundance. You know, love and abundance is everybody's right. I look upon God's abundance as being one of hope, health, peace, happiness, wealth, health, prosperity. All these things are there, and they're there for the taking. They're there and they're your right. So are you ready to make the leap and take your chance when it comes? You may want to take the chance that I'm offering you by following the links below this video. You may want to look for your own. But please, don't be what the book describes as average. Be the best you can be. Always strive to be better than you were yesterday. God bless.